Well, we've been out here this morning talking to the West Valley foreman of Asplundh Tree Service, which is a contractor with Salt River Project, our main electric utility here. And our biggest concern is the back corner of this wall right here, where you see some guy wires that go up to the power lines. And they took a beautiful mesquite tree with a 20 to 25 foot spread on it and stumped it into nothing. And not only that, left a stair step into the back neighbor's yard. They do say in hindsight now that they will cut the stump up, but this huge corporation, Asplundh, which employs 30,000 people, and the man who is in charge of 10 crews for the whole west side of the metropolitan area here, says they don't possess a stump grinder. So this tree was stumped off a little bit on the top. They say they need 10-foot clearance with the lines, but what they've done is taken anywhere from 12 to 18 feet. This next tree right here had a beautiful canopy about 5 feet off the ground because my spouse and I had trimmed it to that way. So the canopy is gone. The entire center of the tree has been chopped out. And as you look up through the tree, you can see the crown of the tree is now actually a donut because there's nothing left in the middle of the tree. This tree was not impeding the power lines. The most tragic one is this tree right here, which you can see is now like 1/3 of a tree bending over into the backyard. We're standing right next to the Salt River Project canal, and Salt River provides water and power for the valley. And there's beautiful reflections in the calm water this morning. And the bell tower you can see for the Brophy Preparatory High School, and the Camelback Mountain just to the right past the big tree in the distance there. But this is a nice jogging thoroughfare. People ride bikes. It's a pedestrian thing. It's part of our neighborhood, and some of us have been back here trying to maintain it. And to take a tree like that and do that, they say they have no obligation to shape up the far side because that's not harming the power lines. But when you leave a tree looking that deformed, can't you use your head a little bit? So he says he'll see if he can get approval to reshape the other part a little bit. Being next to the canal here, it probably has roots that might go down 50 feet or so. So the concern is that if the ground were saturated during a severe rainstorm and there was a wind, that the tree could blow over onto the house over there. But it's just a pity. It's a pity they come up under the power lines to begin with, and that they don't get properly groomed before the power company has to make a mess out of them. But the more terrible thing is that the neighborhood or the neighbors, adjacent homeowners, don't get an option to maintain the trees if they see value in the trees. That you come home one day from work and suddenly they're either hacked to pieces or they're gone. The thing that puzzles us about this tree here is that it has a snapped off limb there, which is mostly dead, and there's a dead branch right here. And their website, this is Asplundh Company, as I said, they employ 30,000 people. There's 18 pages of malarkey about how much they care about trees and how they're trying to do a good job by the trees and stuff. And so they deal not just with power line maintenance but right-of-way maintenance. And so here's fuel for a fire. Certainly a fire under the power lines doesn't do any good, but they don't think they should take a minute or two and take that branch out there. So this is the one that troubles us the most. They said the limbs were putting pressure on the guy wires here. There's 3 guy wires going up to hold this pole, which is an important power pole. And I'm sure it could have been fixed by just cutting a few 2-inch limbs at the most. There was not pressure being put on those. I've been back here maintaining the tree, and we'll show you where the neighbors have actually put in some bougainvillea plants to try and make the alley look nicer. So it's just really makes us heartsick that we've come in here a couple days ago and after all the work that we have spent to find the alley basically vandalized by our power utility. And here you can see some more stumps. This was a tree that was about 12 feet tall, and it was intertwined with this desert broom here. It was just barely touching the telephone line there, nowhere even close to these wires coming up here. And they've just stripped everything bare. They carefully took out the pieces from in between the desert broom because they know that won't get much taller. And the supervisor just said, well, it was cut down once before. That doesn't mean that was right either. This is a company that just I sent them a couple messages and I texted them. They do to vegetation what Hitler did to human beings. And that sounds very harsh, I know. I hope it does not offend anybody, but it expresses just how wretched and terrible this company is. And I would hope that we could get Asplundh stopped from doing any work in Arizona because of their lack of concern for trees and neighborhoods and vegetation and lack of care. The man who's a supervisor is a certified arborist, but he said not a single person on any of his 10 crews is an arborist, and I think that each crew should have an arborist. They're hiring basically minimum wage people, I think, who don't know what they're doing, and that's just the way landscaping goes. It's a pity.